What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and in this video I talk about the 5 biggest lessons I learned from managing Walmart two-step dropshipping stores last year in 2022, and I think these are going to shock you. You're definitely going to be surprised, and it's going to make you wonder what kind of dropshipping store you truly want. So I am about to reveal those to you and a heck of a lot more. So I'm fired up. Hope you're fired up. Let's do this. Okay, so we're here on the back end of the store that I talked about in the last video, which is a store that absolutely did a phenomenal job. I don't want to say it crushed it. It didn't hit the $1 million mark. And I know a lot of people like to see the $1 million mark. For some reason, that means a lot to a lot of people. The reality is when you do hit the $1 million mark with this type of store, you've only got about 20% margin. So you're looking at about a $200,000 profit. In the case of this one, it's to 160, and then another 40 times 28, $170,000 earnings for this particular store. And if you're doing this with an automated service provider, then you split that 50-50. So I'm looking at like 85, 90K, something around that. So this particular store is 100% automated. It's A to Z automation. That is something that I do have a team that offers that. My email is below in case you do want to talk about that, but there's also other options. I was talking on the phone with somebody earlier today that didn't even want it done with you, which we do also, which we give you the listings to put in your store and you manage the whole rest of the store. But you can get consulting and things like that so that you can get your own store, manage the entire thing, and do all the work yourself. So there's a lot of different options. That's why I do have my email below. But let's talk about this store. In general, the total dollar amount that was sold on this store is $927,000. There were 845 canceled sales, which amount to about 41,000, and 46,000 in refund. So if we kind of really think about that, typically the refund rate on any given store is anywhere between 1% and 3%. If we take that 927,000 and calculate as a 1% refund rate, that's 9270. But so 27,000 would be about 3%. This is a little bit slightly higher than usual, but again, it's drop shipping. This was a two-step, so it's to be expected. This is at about a 5% refund rate, which is not out of the ordinary. It's certainly pretty darn good. But a lot of those standard drop shipping stores got about 20% refund rate. So I want you to imagine a month where you make 10K and then you have to give 2K of that 10K back. And of course, if it goes bigger and bigger, make 100K and 20K's refund. That's crazy. That's insane. So anyways, I know I got off on a tangent at the start of the video, but the whole purpose of this video is to talk about the 5 biggest lessons that we learned from managing a store like this and our stores back in 2022. And this is primarily talking about two-step stores. So standard drop shipping stores are going to have their own slew of problems. The thing that I'm talking about here is two-step drop shipping stores. And I just want to make that a point straight up front, because I know I will get a lot of people like, Liz, you told me this for standard drop shipping. I'm not telling you shit about standard drop shipping. This is only for two-step. I don't want to hear those Debbie Downers are like, oh, Liz, you didn't say that. You didn't say that. No, guys, I don't want to hear that shit. All right. So this is for the two-step stores. This is the biggest lessons that we learn. And with this, make this like a David Letterman countdown. We'll count backwards. I'll save the most important one for last. But one of the biggest lessons that I've certainly learned from managing these stores is number 5 lesson is this versus standard dropshipping. And I know I said that before. I let people say like, there you go, Liz, with your bullshit. A standard dropshipping store, you've got to gradually build that bitch up. With these stores, you come out firing on all cylinders, guns blazing, as crazy as you want, which basically means you can load up as many products as you freaking want. Let's just take a look at the number of items in this store. I don't even think this store has that many. And the reason that it doesn't have that many right now is 220. I know a lot of people are going to be, holy shit, you hardly have anything on that store, Liz. That's right. It doesn't have that much shit on the store. It doesn't need to. Why? That's because of the fact that at first we came out guns freaking blazing. We listed every possible product we could, or we had on hand. We had all hands on deck sourcing for the product. Once those products got put on there and the store kind of created this affinity for one particular niche, then we just overloaded that bitch and put as many products as we could have for that particular niche. And now it specializes in that niche, and that niche is dominating it. So we are focusing on products in that particular niche and moving forward. And again, that's sort of what happens with these stores after you kind of get a feel for how they're going to be managed and how they work and what products sell well on them. So that's the fifth biggest thing we learned. The fourth biggest thing that we learned is it's not going to start that fast unless you do have a whole team dedicated to it. So a lot of people are under this assumption that, okay, we're going to get a VA and that VA is going to pound the hell out of listings and be able to just come up with a ridiculous, insane amount daily and be able to hammer the hell out of it and have thousands and thousands of listings immediately. That's not going to happen because it's going to take that one VA a pretty decent deal of time to come out with those listings. And the only way that you would be able to come out with a ton of listings is by having a team of VAs that are constantly working on this and grabbing those listings up and then putting them together and then putting those listings on multiple stores. So it will take some time if you don't have a team of VAs. It's not going to happen overnight. So you won't be able to have the type of success that's happened in this store. This store's success comes from years of having multiple VA sourcing products and having a catalog of millions of products and be able to pick from that catalog and toss it into certain stores. So that's how the success from this store comes into play. That's not going to be the same results you see only because you're more than likely going to have to start with one VA, and one VA is going to feel like it's going at a snail's pace. This ain't no Turbo the Snail. You're not going to have Turbo the Snail working at getting these listings. You're going to have a snail's pace, a real snail is going to be the person that is sourcing the products for your store, unless you want to do it yourself, which in any event is going to take you a long ass time to be able to achieve these numbers. So don't be realistic and don't set your expectations too high straight out of the gate. It's going to take you a while to be able to achieve these results. These results were achieved by having a full team dedicated of VAs that are looking for these products. All right, so the next one is have backup plans for products you think are going to be golden. What I mean by that is that's probably the bad way to word it. The better way to word this is that your VAs are going to make mistakes. Not everything is going to be a slam dunk. So I'm going to show you an example by going over to Amazon of what I mean by this. Let me show you. So this is a product that was sold on one of our stores, and we thought this was going to be a slam dunk product. Obviously, nobody really was double checking this because after you get comfortable for a while with your VAs, you don't double check their work. So this was the one that we thought was in stock. Everything was good with this one. The price is like $188. I think that's what we were selling it for in Amazon. And turns out that was the wrong one. They had this one here was the one that they were selling on Walmart or vice versa. And the one that was actually they had linked to was this one. So they fudged up the prices. The prices were completely different and it was the wrong product, but we still sold it. So you got to have plans in place as to what you're going to do when these things happen, because VAs aren't perfect. They are going to make mistakes, and you want to have a plan set in place for what you're going to do when this happens, because it will 100% happen, guaranteed. So have backup plans when this kind of shit goes south. That way you're not left running around with your head cut off like a chicken with its head cut off. And that's more or less what you've got to do. So this didn't work for us. So we got a couple options: is try and get the customer to cancel and or ship it out and take a loss. So really for us, it depends on the amount of loss that is. And then we kind of adapt the plan from there. So that's the next big thing. Number 4, I think we're on right now, is this. It's the fact that it's difficult when having a number of these stores and trying to scale to have an idea of the amount of manpower you need. So that is the very reason why we really don't scale these stores that enormously. This store that I showed you that's at the almost $1 million mark is an anomaly. It does quite well because it's an older store and it's been able to grow an affinity for a particular niche. However, in most cases, you got to gradually build that store up. It's going to take a while before a store hits $1 million a year. That one's older than a year. A brand new store might only hit $400,000 or $500,000 in a single year, but still, it's nothing to scoff at. That's over $100,000 in profit. So again, don't get greedy too soon. This is a long-term business. You're set up to succeed since it's following Walmart's terms of service. Now, the last and final biggest lesson we learned on this store is during the Christmas holidays, you kind of have to list a little less, or you have to do some WFS. And the reason I say that is because Amazon gets very behind on shipping and delivering their products to you. So what's going to happen? It's going to be a disaster. If you decide to go full force during the holidays, which you should not, you are going to definitely have some suspensions and some terminations, because I'm telling you firsthand, Amazon cannot keep up with their own demand. And that's only going to trickle on down to you. It's going to domino effect itself into you, and you're going to be fudged. And so as a result, what you want to be aware of is that you cannot rely 100% on drop shipping during the holidays. I do recommend you try some WFS. You make some pretty large purchases and you distribute that inventory among all your stores if you're managing stores, or if you have one store, you make a pretty large purchase. You gamble on the fact that whatever product you purchase will sell because it's the holidays. So you want to do that, and you want to make sure that you move forward with kind of possibly diversifying the business and doing some WFS year round alongside the drop shipping. That'll certainly help. That'll add another dimension to your business and be able to you to profit more potentially in the long run. So that's pretty much a quick rundown of our 5 biggest lessons that we learned drop shipping, the 2-step method in 2022, and how we're going to adjust in 2023 and beyond. And again, if you'd like to have that talk on how to do a full-on automation A to Z service store for yourself, my email is below. I can also talk about done with you as well as do it yourself, and I just consult for you. So email is below, and I will see you guys on the next video.